Welcome to another episode of the Quip Corner with Ada. I have a real special guest. Well, I should be careful when I say that because all my guests are special. But this guest I haven't seen in a while, physically or even virtually. You'll see her bio right after this. Please stay tuned. Thank you. Welcome to the Quip and Convo segment of the Quip Corner with Ada Tari.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Yes. I mean, I'm even giving you a virtual hug because it's so great to see you after so long.
Yes, Auntie Ada. Good to see you too.
So we exchanged emails and you decided on a quip or two to talk about today. So I'll read the quip and then I'll let you share your thoughts on it.
Okay.
Quip 24 in my latest book goes, you can only achieve and become all you dreamed of if you're alive and well. So prioritize self-care. Thoughts?
So the older you get, right? The older you get, the more certain things begin to make sense. The truth is that when we're much younger, people say things and we just take it with a pinch of salt, right? Because maybe at that time, that's not what I'm about, self-care. I have goals to achieve. I have people to meet. I have heights to attain. Self-care is really not my thing. But as you get older and the body begins to, your biology begins to slow down, you then begin to realize that, look, these things they've been saying, it's actually true. If you do not put a brake, deliberately apply the brake sometimes to the path you're on, then you're headed for serious disaster. So I'm saying this because it's just recently dawned on me that, look, you need to prioritize self-care. Self-care has been there. People have been talking about it. But for me personally, I would say it's actually this year, I began to realize that, look, there are some things I can actually do without. There are some places I do not have to show up at. There are some activities I do not need to take on. And I should be able to make time for myself. I should be able to make time for myself. And self-care, people would think, somebody asked me a question. Recently, I was talking about self-care as well in a corporate setting. And somebody asked, and somebody said, from everything I said, self-care seems selfish. And I said, no, self-care is not selfish. Self-care is you prioritizing the way you look after yourself without taking from somebody else. Without taking out of somebody else. You are putting in the effort to ensure that your physical, mental, social, emotional, spiritual well-being is together, but you're not doing it at the detriment of somebody else. When you do it at the detriment of someone else, that's when it's selfish. But when you're doing it to optimize your own well-being, but not taking it away from somebody else, maybe somebody who needs help or somebody who's dependent on you, then that's actually self-care. So for me, that's what self-care was. So as I came into 2022 and there's so much buzz, so much noise out there, I told myself, look, first of all, my birthday falls in January. And I told myself, look, every year now, I will do something for my birthday. So this year, I took myself, okay, no, let me not say I took myself. Well, I took myself, but Mr. Adebisi paid for it. I took myself.
Of course.
I mean, I took myself to a spa and I had a good time, massage, all the works, name it. And that's the first time I've ever done that in my life.
Oh, wow.
And I'm over 40.
Wow.
And in my head, I'm like, this is what people do every weekend. And I used to think that they were just spoiled or
wasteful.
Wasteful. But it is not. It is not wasteful. And I know how I felt after that session. And I'm like, so this is what I've been missing. I mean, I don't have to do it every week. you know,
Yeah.
but at least
Yeah.
something for myself, something for me,
Yeah.
just me alone.
Yeah.
And it felt so good. So
Mm-hmm.
self-care is actually very important. If you're a working woman, you're a mom, pastor, business person, full-time wife, whatever it is, self-care is very, very, very necessary. And everybody, not just women, everybody should actually have time to take care of themselves. So that's what I think.
That's excellent. Thank you for the spa example, because before COVID, one of the things my husband and I used to do now and again was we used to, after we discovered the joy of spa, because like I was like, spa, who does that? What for? Why would I? Who is touching me? Type thing.
Mm-hmm.
After we discovered the joy of it, we started. In fact, what happened was, I think one year, I was like, what can I give my husband as a birthday gift? And like you, his birthday is in January. And so I booked in a spa appointment. And of course, it was all like, who is going to touch me? What will they do? And so I said, just go first. Let's just go first. So he went. When he came back, he said, baby, we need to do this thing.
Honestly.
And so, at different intervals, we would book a couple's spa, and so we both go, and things like that. So I totally, I hear you. I hear you. It's interesting you say the thing about self-care not being selfishness. I actually have a quip in another book that says self-care is not selfishness, or, it's self first, not self only.
Not self only.
And the point you made about as you get older, I was smiling because it's not just that you realize, even your body starts telling you things.
Telling you, for sure. Hey, for sure. Everything just kind of like reminds you that you're not 20 anymore. You can't be jumping around like this. Exactly. Yeah.
So question, since we only realize when we're much older, what message should we be giving to younger people so that they don't need to wait till past 40 or 50? Some people, it's only after a serious medical condition that they now start to reel back and say, okay, I think I need to take care of myself. So how do we get this into the mentality of younger people so they start earning?
Interesting question. The thing is, it's amazing that kids born these days, let's say kids born in the 90s, 2000s, they actually know a lot about these things
millennials
now.
Yes,
the millennials, not much more than we did growing up. Growing up, we were focused on attaining academic achievement. I mean, that's where every parent will tell you, look, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be an engineer. That's where your focus is. Just read your book and pass your exams.
Exactly.
Right? But the millennials are really not that way.
Yeah.
They are not that way. Yes, they're focused on academics, but their minds are elsewhere. They are more open to imbibing other things that probably may not be academic stuff. They're more open to experimenting. They're more open to speaking about their mental health.
Yeah.
And that's just where the world is going. People are no longer afraid to speak out. People are no longer afraid to share their opinions. I mean, you see a 20-year-old telling you, that's not how it's done, ma'am. And as far as it's concerned, it's not being disrespectful. I mean, that's just not the way it's done. Take it or leave it. And so I think we may not have too much work to do in that regard, because already they're catching up with the times. They're more outspoken, they're more liberal, they're more open to new ideas. And so if we begin to preach, and they're more open to taking care of themselves, they'll tell you, look, this thing is not good for my mental health. It's a thing now. As in, if I do too much of this, it's not okay for my mental health. I mean, I need to cut this off because my mental health is priority. They'll tell you that. Unlike our time, mental health, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Pass your exam. That's all that you should be concerned about. But now they'll tell you. Parenting these days is more open. Your children are able to tell you things that when we were younger, we dare not discuss with our parents.
You won't even dare think about it, let alone let it come out of your mouth.
Come out of your mouth. But they're open to discussing. They're open to asking questions. Right? They don't, So I don't think there's too much work to be done there, really. We just need to emphasize that, look, it is actually very necessary for you to take care of yourself. You need to slow down. When it's holiday, let it be holiday. I mean, the time for holiday is not the time where you now want to go and take all the extra classes like we did growing up. If I will tell you that, Mom, I mean, the brain needs to rest. You can't put this on us when we should be. This is summer holidays. We need to rest. Not having extra classes at home and all of that. So they're open, they speak up more. And so it may not be too much work for us to say, okay, self-care, you need to take care of yourself because of 1, 2, 3. They already know that, look, if you exceed this, it's going to affect my mental health. And they're open to discussing, other ways that they can channel their energy. To, yes, beyond the norm, which is academics. So, yeah, that's my thought.
Yeah, and, as I listen to you, a lot of what you said resonates for me, because even when I think of things like work-life balance, the millennials are more into it than, the older generation, where they are able to create and maintain those boundaries.
Yes. Yes, they are. They tell you, look, I cannot come to the office five times a week, right? I need to balance things out a bit. So I'm going to come 3 times a week, and the other 2, I'll work from home.
Yeah.
And of course, COVID too has brought on these choices. So
yes,
moving along with the times, nobody is actually in that shoebox. You have to stay in that square box and not get out of it. So things are changing a lot, and I think to just keep evolving as time goes on.
So what would you say to people who think that self-care is expensive, because sometimes some people may say, oh, I have to spend money. No, I don't want to spend money for self-care. What would you say to people like that?
So interesting. This also came up in another conversation I had, that self-care, does it have to take away from your bank account? And the answer is no. First of all, self-care doesn't have to be something big. Number 1. 2, self-care doesn't have to be something you do maybe every month or every year. It's something that may be ordinary to some other people, but you have decided to incorporate into your life, whether daily or weekly or monthly or whatever. Somebody brought up the idea of, going on holiday. And I'm like, that's not the only way, of expressing that you're caring for yourself. Holidays are expensive. I mean, I'm in Nigeria. Let's talk about dollar naira rate. We don't even want to go into that discussion. It's terrible. I said, but you have what is called a staycation.
Yes.
You stay at home. You just decide that, look, I'm not going to open this laptop today. I'm not going to attend to any work issues today.
Yeah.
Today, I'm just going to spend half of the morning in bed. I went out today to do something else, and somebody was asking me, what's your typical Saturday like? I said, my typical Saturday is spending time in bed Saturday morning before I get up and do any other thing. But I had to jump all this morning because I had a meeting. I mean, for me now, I'm stressed already, So those little things you do to add extra to your life can just be staying in bed. You can just be having breakfast in bed. You don't do that for the rest part of the week because you have something to do. You have work to go to. Sundays, you have church to go to.
Yeah.
So you can't do that every day. But Saturday, once a week, you can say, okay, I'll be in bed today. Let breakfast be served me. I normally serve breakfast. I take care of everyone else. Today, please, somebody should serve me breakfast in bed and all of that. Something small. Something like, oh, okay, this evening, I just want to do Netflix. Let me watch a good movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to cost any money. It doesn't have to cost any money. It may be preparing a good meal and just enjoying yourself. Maybe just having, a romantic dinner with your partner. No kids, no extra guests, nobody, just both of you talking and catching up. And at the end of the day, you feel better about yourself and your relationship is stronger and better for it. So it's just those little extra things that we usually just brush aside because of because of how busy we are. Just incorporating those little things. That's self-care. You don't need to spend any money. Of course, occasionally, you could want to take the vacation, if you can afford it. But generally speaking, self-care shouldn't really cost much at all.
Thank you. I really appreciate the very tangible examples you have given, because when I think of vacation sometimes, apart from the expense of the vacation, people now go and say, that's when it's time to go shopping. And then they come back from vacation tired.
tired, and then they need a vacation from the vacation.
Exactly. You know. So
No.
thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. So as we wrap this up, you have been dropping nuggets right through. But
Yeah.
what advice would you give to, people viewing, irrespective of, what their age bracket is? What advice would you give with respect to self-care?
Okay. So first of all, I'd say prioritize self-care. There's nobody who doesn't need it. I mean, even babies, when you I see some videos and even newborn babies enjoy being massaged. Can you just imagine? They haven't even seen anything in the world yet, but you're massaging them and their eyes are half closed and you can see that they're relaxed and enjoying it. It's priority for every single human being. So one, prioritize self-care. Two, set self-care goals. Set self-care goals. Now, those goals, when we talk about goal setting, we usually talk about setting SMART goals, right? It should be specific, it should be measurable, achievable, realistic, time-bound. Yeah? You can add an extra A to make it not just smart, but smarter. So yes, it's going to be specific. I want to do this every Saturday morning. I want to sleep an extra 2 hours every Saturday morning. That's being specific, right? Then it can be measurable. I mean, I've already measured it, 2 hours. That's measurable. Then SMA, achievable. It's nothing difficult to do. You're not importing anything for that to be done. So it's achievable. It's realistic because you have every Saturday. So it's realistic to achieve. And then it's time bound. You want to do this every Saturday. I mean, that example just has everything in it. But then the last A, which will make this smarter, is action. It isn't just enough to write down SMART, add the A. Action. If you do not act on the goals you have set, it's as good as not setting any goal. So that's the second thing I want people to do. So first of all, I said prioritize self-care, to set goals, and the goals should be smarter goals for that. And then 3, don't overthink it. People get into trouble when they begin to overthink. Oh, I have to make this plan. I have to do this. I have to do that. Don't overthink it. Let it flow naturally. Because when it doesn't flow naturally, you have to put a lot of effort and time into planning. It's now stress. It's no longer self-care. So those are the 3 I would leave. Prioritize, smarter, don't overthink it. And self-care is for everyone, of course. So everyone should just enjoy. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you so, so much. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So, well, put your comments on your thoughts about what Tari was sharing with us. It was nice to hear her perspective on the quote. And the fact that each of us has a responsibility to ourselves. Please share also what you're doing or have done or plan to do based on what she said. I look forward to reading your comments and interacting with you. Thank you for being part of the Quip Corner with Ada family. See you again soon. Bye now.